GM, I'm Nick from the Solana Foundation DevRel team, and today I'm joined with a couple of awesome engineers. We're going to be talking about Solang. So I'm joined with John, also from the Solana Foundation DevRel team, and then Sean and Lucas from Solana Labs. How are you guys doing today?
I'm great,
Very good.
thanks.
Good.
All right, let's go ahead and just dive right in. So we're going to be talking about Solang and what it is and why people should care. So I guess the first question to you, Sean, what is Solang?
So on Solana, you can write contracts in Rust and in C right now, and we've been working very hard to add another language to that set, Solidity. So there are many Solidity developers around, and Solidity is one of the most popular programming languages for smart contracts. And up to now, that wasn't available on Solana. We've been writing a new compiler to make that happen, and this has been a lot of work, and we've been working on this for a few years. But now we're really ready for it to be used.
So overall, that means Ethereum developers can now build on Solana directly using Solidity. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does sound. Yes, that's absolutely right. So there are differences between Ethereum and Solana, and there are differences in some details how you would write your Solidity code. But the language is the same. There's just some built-in functionality which is different on Solana than Solidity. So if you have an existing Solidity contract, you will probably need to do a little bit of porting to make it work on Solana.
So existing Solidity programs, you can't just necessarily deploy directly. You might have to make some changes just based off of purely the technical differences between Solana and Solidity, or over the EVM for that matter. So you can't necessarily, there's some limitations of the exact code that ports over. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Can you give us some examples?
So a very simple example is when you use a value or balance. In Ethereum, that's a 256-bit value, and on Solana, that's a 64-bit value. So you need to use a different type. So you just need to change the types in your Solidity code for that. An address on Ethereum is 20 bytes, and on Solana, it's 32 bytes. So again, a little bit of porting needed to make sure that still works. The way Solana works is quite different than Ethereum. Solana is designed for speed and low latency, and that speed is achieved through concurrency. And one way that is done is that accounts are kind of split. So in Ethereum, one account, a single account can have code, data, and value attached to it. But on Solana, those will be three separate accounts. You'll have one account for the code, one account for the data, and one account for the value. So this means that some code will have to be rewritten to split what is assumed to be one account into several different accounts. There are also things that makes life a lot easier. So there's for example, there's a print function, and with print you can simply provide some text, and it'll be added to the program log, and this makes debugging a lot easier.
So it sounds like currently Solang enables EVM devs to build on Solana. However, they'll still need to pick up some of these Solana concepts such as the token program, the account model, etc. Correct? Because it's not a direct port.
Yes, that's right. So you're still using the Solidity language, but the underlying concepts of Solana aren't sort of hidden anyway. You still need to use those. So, for example, the way you upgrade contracts on Solana is you can upgrade the program account, and on Ethereum you would use a proxy account which then redirects the call to the latest version of the contract. And on Solana, none of that is needed. You can simply upgrade the program code separately, and that can be done natively on Solana. So that makes life much easier. It does mean that existing upgrade code needs to be removed.
Okay, gotcha. So it's kind of like an implementation detail of you just have to design your Solidity code. You have to make some relatively minor adjustments, but there are some adjustments you have to make. You have to, implement it with Solana in mind, I guess is the idea, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And is I guess to Lucas then, is Solang production ready? Like can I as a developer, if I know Solidity, which could I just deploy my Solidity contract right now to the Solana blockchain?
Yes, we've been working for a few years on making Solang work seamlessly with Solana, and only recently we reached a higher level of maturity, and we had our code audited audited by a third-party company. And this audit helped us find points for improvement and certify that we are prepared for a launch. In addition, we are adding new features to the Solidity language to better help developers write contracts for Solana using Solidity, because now Solidity was mainly developed for Ethereum, and specific Solana syntax wasn't originally available in Solidity.
So further to that, the audit that was done, that was done by the same company that audits Solana Core itself. We've had three separate audits. 2 have already completed. The third one is underway and will be completed in the next few weeks. So this just gives us a high level of confidence that this is production ready.
Yeah, I like it. So it's multiple audits in progress, or some might already be done. There's it's actively being built, more and more features, more developer tooling, that sort of thing. So it's an active effort is I guess the idea.
Lucas, I know you've been working on a lot of updates to how account management is done with Solang. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So when you call a program on Solana, you need to specify which account you want that transaction is going to use. And on Solidity right now, there's no way to do that. We are working on introducing annotations to functions so that you can declare that a signer account or a mutable account that your function is going to need. Our goal with that is to make life easier for developers so that they don't need to specify that account both in the account array and pass it as a function argument.
So overall, this would really simplify the process of interacting with the contract from the client, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I love this as an idea. It's just more and more expansion for the Solana ecosystem, more developer tooling, developer optionality, really. And I guess like my last question is, what's the best way as a Solidity developer to dive in and actually start using Solang?
Well, right now to use Solang, you need to download the Solana's command line tools. It will automatically install Solang for you. And you can also use the Anchor framework. Having Anchor, you can install the latest version, the 0.28. You can just type anchor -- init, which will create an example contract for you. And then you can just use all the Anchor tool, Anchor functionality like Anchor build and Anchor deploy to deploy your contract on chain.
You can even add a Solidity contract to an existing Rust Anchor workspace. So if you have an Anchor workspace with some Rust programs, then you can add a Solidity contract to that with Anchor program, I believe. And then you can have in your workspace, you can have a mixture of Rust contracts and Solidity contracts, and all of them just will work together.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I love that. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this video here. This has been such a great chat, and naturally we'll have links in the description for the Solang repos and how to find out more information, how to actually get started. So thank you all so much for joining us, and for all the listeners and all the watchers, check out Solang. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.